So New Year Dash today, noteworthy show. They drew 3,523 at Oda Ward Gymnasium. Last year's show at the same venue did 2,348. So they basically doubled their attendance. Not doubled. They were up, from, they added like 1,200 from last year, not double. But their best Dash attendance since 2020. And so we had all the multi-mans on the undercard. I think you called it. The most over move at the moment in professional wrestling is the Boston Crab, which we got 2 Boston Crab finishes in the opening matches to start with. So I think they have certainly, Yota Tsuji has set the tempo for 2026.
I would suggest it was the young lion on the opener who probably, influenced everybody else on the show.
Maybe Yota Tsuji saw that William Regal post and he said, you know what? I'm going to put something into action here. So, the results you can get on the site. I'm not going to go through all of the matches here, but we will go through the news and angles from the show. Number 1, we got new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Champions as Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles defeated champions Sho and Doki in a match that also featured El Desperado and Kukai and Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori. They had 7 minutes and 24 seconds, roughly the exact same time that the 4 junior heavyweights had the night before at the Dome, and double the people. This blew away that match from the Tokyo Dome. They were awesome for these 7.5 minutes. Really terrific stuff here. Kosei Fujita was just out of this world in this particular match. So they win the junior heavyweight tag titles. And then in the main event, Oscar and Yuto Ice defeating Ryohei Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. 26 minutes and 22 seconds. In what was just like a really, really terrific match. That's going to be probably highlighted more by the post-match, but holy Christ. If you see this match, I thought Ryohei Oiwa, like, he was the star of the match to me. Like, I was watching it, I was like, here is your rival for Yota Tsuji. Like, this guy to me is, like, he had everything. He's got, like, this sort of, like, Terry Gordy aesthetic to him. And they've given him like this edge now to him where they're really playing off the fact he knocked out Gabe Kidd's tooth and he was just taking the fight to Yuto Ice. And they focus so heavily on these two, making it that like these two, like this is going to be a generational rivalry between these two guys. They really tried to put this over. So it ends with, the KOB being hit by the champions onto Oiwa, and afterwards there's this overhead shot of Ice and Oiwa on their backs, still holding on to each other, like by the hair over the lion mark on the mat. And again, just really emphasizing this rivalry. And we got the challenges. Umino and Uemura showed up, and they actually got some boos here against KOB, who are just becoming like these cool heels to the audience. And it's really hard not to get into these guys. And that will be emphasized in a minute. Then Taichi and Ishii showed up. So we had multiple generations here. And Yuto suggested, instead of a 3-way, you guys fight, and the winner can get a title shot. Smart man, this Yuto Ice. But then it was Yuto Ice's chance to close New Year Dash. He gets to address the crowd to end Wrestle Kingdom weekend. And my God, did he have the ultimate speech that he was able to bring out. He explained that he's getting to close out the show, states they are going to carry New Japan. And he told us a little bit about himself, Wayne. I know you're intrigued by the man, the myth, Yuto Ice. He says, I'm interested in fighting, I'm interested in money, and I'm interested in getting high. And he is now taking getting high into a euphemism for New Japan going higher to new heights. So it has a double meaning that way. He's not interested in being a hero. I love to fight. I love pro wrestling. New Japan is the only place where you can find this heart that they show. And the higher you get, you never come down. So everybody, let's get high. This was just an amazing speech that he gave that I cannot give proper justice to. And then backstage they went and they stated, whatever rumors you have heard, we are not going anywhere. We are staying here in New Japan. And that was it. Like Yuto Ice was really the star of this, and you came out of it like this guy is going to be a massive babyface for this company. And again, a lot of it's just going to come to, like they have a lot of interesting parts here. It's simply getting these people into the right roles and the booking all like aligning and elevating so many of these people. That's going to be the struggle because you have some really great talent here, depending on like who is sticking around, because there will be some exits that we'll get into. But I would say the last two matches were really outstanding matches, especially the main event. The junior heavyweight was short. The undercard, like nothing atrocious. It was multi-mans layered with angles and setting up a bunch of stuff for the future. But certainly I think this speech is going to get a lot of attention for Yuto Ice this year. One man leaving is Sonata. He came out and he was all decked out in fishnet with a guitar, and it had a scrolling message that said, "Goodbye, New Japan." And he is leaving. He is going on a trip, they said, and he is exiting. And that this was it for Sonata.
Mm-hmm.
What a story of this guy and his New Japan run, from a Tokyo Dome headliner a few years ago to someone that I can't say is really going to be missed. I think he has fallen to such a rut in this character. And frankly, I think that with this Tanahashi retirement, this is a really pivotal time for New Japan. I think you do want some turnover. You want some fresh blood that is representing the new New Japan. And I think Sonata is kind of like, go out there and, maybe he'll light the world on fire somewhere else, because he sure as hell is not lighting the world on fire here in New Japan. And I cannot say this is going to be one that is going to be, people are going to be tormented over.
Yeah,
with the exception of one man in our post-wrestling family.
Of course. Yeah, Eric. Sorry about that. Eric Marcotte will follow him wherever he goes. Maybe he'll be coming closer to Sudbury, Ontario, for his sake. But, you see the story here. I mean, throughout the course of the past 5 years, I mean, there really is like quite a roster of people who they tried with and did not succeed with. And in the case of like, let's say even a Shingo Takagi, at the very least, Shingo still offers an incredible abilities to entertain. Sonata hasn't really shown that in recent years. I mean, his ability to entertain at this point is with his fashion sense. And, the time has certainly come for him. I also wondered, like, in terms of just like money, somebody who has advanced to, world champion status probably commands a certain rate that you're not necessarily seeing the proper recuperation from by just placing him as one of the many members of the House of Torture. I wonder if that has something figured into it. I mean, I also wonder how much of this, because he's so blatant about it, you don't often see like talents actually like, advertise goodbye new like this way. I wonder like if this could possibly be something temporary. But of course, like the big question is, with rumors also surrounding like whether or not Evil may be leaving, could they be going together? Could they be reuniting LIJ with Naito and Bushi elsewhere?
It's like all possibilities are out there. It's going to be like, the interest of, bringing in, especially a Sonata. He's like, he's not in his prime, I would say at this point either. Like you are getting like Naito's a really tough one. Like I just don't know what his next year is going to look like. Even if it was like a reduced rate, I don't know if just philosophically, if I'm New Japan, that I would want like a Naito. It's so counter to my business that I'm trying to structure the future. And what does a Naito? I feel he kind of just gets in the way of that at this point. Like it's still a really high standard, and I think it's one that it's going to be, you can see like this guy is like from his knees, the eye problems, like he is, physically been through the wood chipper. And I just think overall, you want to be emphasizing your youth movement and creating new stars. I think that's what the audience wants as well. I don't think it's one that even if he was available at a reasonable amount by New Japan standards, that you'd be jumping on a Naito, much
Japan,
less a
no.
Sonata, for instance. Like, I think like there is a healthy amount of turnover, like a sports team, that like you want to have that turnover that is going to, elicit just a freshness to the product. And that's what New Japan, this is a rebuilding year. As much as January 4th was a high for them, this is a very big rebuilding year, and it's a very critical one. If this year does not go well, this could be a very, this could be a big rebound year for them, or it could be a very low year with them without a lot of these past stars that were still over to your public.
Yeah. I think turnover is certainly necessary. But they experienced a lot of it in recent years that they probably wish they didn't. In the case of many of the AEW departures. But Sonata isn't necessarily one of those. I mean, they could afford to lose Sonata. They could probably afford to lose Evil. They could afford to lose a lot of the old guard. So I think for Sonata, it's time to go. And let's see where he ends up, what the excursion entails.
We got an appearance by Will Ospreay. He came out to meet with the United Empire and address Callum Newman, and calling him his little brother, and stating that, I'm not cleared right now, but once I'm healthy, I've got some work to do in AEW, but I'm going to come back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he stated that, he's going to support Newman, and you're a grown man, and we'll take over New Japan just like we did before. And he hugs Newman, who gives the John Cena stare off into. And the only thing, there was no way they were doing anything physical with this guy, but he calls for the United Empire pose, and Newman stands in the back. He's the only one that doesn't put his hands up, but then he gets a chair, and the other members have to stop Newman, and Ospreay just has to play oblivious. Like, he has no idea what's going on behind his back. I actually wish they just left it to, he didn't put the hands up, and you can see that, whereas if Ospreay comes back, it's like he has to have seen this. You know what I mean? It was just, it was so clearly they stopped an attack here, and Ospreay was just none the wiser. But I would say if everything turns out well, like, this felt like this could be the Tokyo Dome next year as Ospreay and Callum Newman.
It could, yeah. I mean, certainly,
or some kind of big show for New Japan. All things, if I'm hoping Ospreay is in the mix by a year from now.
Yeah. I mean, the way Ospreay spoke about it in the post-match press conference, I mean, so much of it is determined by, I think, his recovery process, much less like what AEW requires out of him, right? But he, suggested like he wants to be back in New Japan for like a several date type of thing, right, throughout the course of the year. But I mean, this was probably a matter of convenience, him being here for the Tanahashi thing, and hopefully intending on, making some appearances in New Japan this year. Why don't we shoot the angle right now, with and as a way to just like, what we're looking for on Dash is to really see like what the next projects are, who the next generation guys that they're going to be focusing on. And I thought this did a great job of putting Callum Newman in focus. Sounded great in the little promo he gave to David Finlay here. And in his acting against Will Ospreay in this particular moment, I thought he did tremendously. So we'll see how he grows in the next year before we hopefully get this matchup eventually.
Yeah, like his promo game, like they've been making him like a focus. It was very clear even before this that this would be a big year for him, and this only solidified it. So I really like that handling. It was never billed as a unification match, but confirmation, the global heavyweight title will exist. And it sounds like they're just taking it off Yota Tsuji, and it will be decided in a match between Gabe Kidd and Andrade El Idolo on February 11th in Osaka.
Wait, it's actually for the championship, not just a title shot?
It's for the global heavyweight title. That's how it was set
wow.
up by Gabe. He said that you're a former Intercontinental champion. I'm a former global heavyweight champion. So we will meet for that.
I thought the winner was going to challenge Tsuji. Is that not the
that
case?
might be the case, but this was clearly set up to be like for the global heavyweight.
Well, yeah,
belt.
sure.
Yeah.
But they're not stripping Tsuji of it, are they?
I think they are.
They said that?
I mean, they said here, this to me sounded like they are fighting for the global heavyweight title.
Okay. Oh, you could be right.
Okay, well,
I mean, I thought they were just wanting to compete for a title shot.
all right. Well, I took it to be for the actual title, but we will. We will. I might be corrected. We had Ren Narita attacking Aaron Wolf, so that's going to be Aaron Wolf's, I guess, first title defense against Narita. So they're keeping the House of Torture in the Aaron Wolf universe, and I think for at least for the next several of these, I mean, I think Aaron Wolf is going to have all the attention of like watching all of these matches, and it's a big role for Ren Narita to be in, to have to follow what Evil was able to accomplish here, and that's going to be the expectation. Goto, Yoshihashi, and Oleg Boltin have been set up as challengers for Zack Oiwa and Hartley Jackson for the Never Six-Man belts, and Yota Tsuji, he gave Jake Lee the microphone to convince him, why do you deserve a title match after being out for 15 months? Great logic here. This would be an ultimate payoff if he doesn't have the credentials for a title shot. But Jake Lee just attacked him. Looks like that will be probably February the 11th. And then backstage, he announced the formation of a new group, the Unbound Company, merging the War Dogs and the Unaffiliated, which by process of elimination looks to be the end of the road after nearly 13 years of the Bullet Club.
R.I.P. They sold a lot of shirts, and they
sold a lot of merch, and the biggest U.S. players in that group never saw a cent from those shirt sales.
Well, I'm sure it's run its course by now. I wonder how many Bullet Club shirts are really selling anymore. But I mean, this is officially the end of LIJ, I suppose you could say as well. You take the top two groups over the past decade, and you take the remnants and you put them together in this mishmash that they've been really building up over the course of the past several months anyway. I'm interested in seeing it. I mean, of course you have I think you have some automatic tension here that's possible to explore in the past. I mean, you already have Gabe Kidd vying for Tsuji's global championship, and he was eyeing it down pretty strongly in this backstage segment. How is it David Finlay going to be, like moving from being leader of the Bullet Club at one point to now being a background player against Yota Tsuji? That's going to be very interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, it would seem that, this, you could definitely do at least some story of like a member, like a David Finlay, ultimately leaving. Like you have Gabe Kidd in this as well. Like Tsuji and Kidd they've kind of got the Swerve Hangman partnership now where, Kidd is going for that title. I think you're definitely going to get that match in the near future, but Finlay's another one that could ultimately leave this group potentially and challenge Tsuji down the road. So, yeah, I mean, I think this should be about setting up kind of Tsuji's whole mission for 2026. You've got this group, and maybe you can have some matches actually that come out of it with at least Kidd, and if not Kidd and Finlay.
Being announced for a new faction, does it tell you anything about these futures, at least in this year, for David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, or Drilla Maloney?
I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable just saying this 100% means they're not leaving, but it would be somewhat surprising if they felt that they were not sticking around, that you would do this now as opposed to waiting. So, yeah. I mean, I would take it as a signal that they're at least going to be available. Kidd's going to be the most interesting one because, like, he's already semi-involved in like AEW, and I would think at worst he's just going to be doing what I expect Andrade to be doing, where Andrade clearly has a role here that went beyond just this weekend and is going to be figured into the United Empire. But I think he's going to end up balancing both. Will that be the case for Kidd as well, and doing more AEW this year as well?
Yeah, I mean, look at Takeshita, like a guy who was very much he never really felt all that missing from the year in AEW, other than of course through the course of the G1, but was able to do the G1, and now
got his 7 hours in.
Got a 7 hours of match time in, and ended with a co-headlining bout at the Tokyo Dome. So I imagine there might be a lot of these guys who feel like they can still do both if they are given the ability to.
And New Japan's going to have to understand like its placement in the market now. Like 5 years ago, like that would be preposterous. Like we are the number one company in Japan. Today, it's like we're on a global scale and you are not number one, you're not number two, and you're actually pretty far from number two. And if you want access to this talent, like it's going to be under these terms or else like you just won't have them, period.
So as you mentioned yesterday, I mean, if any of these talents had gone to WWE, they would not be able
they'd
to
just be
even
gone
show up.
altogether. Like, look at that. I mean, Jesus, Matt Cardona can't drop like an ACW title. Like that's, it's amazing because I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but the like preemptive panic about Mercedes Moné winning all these indie titles and it's going to destroy these indie companies. Is she going to go back? Is she going to drop these belts? I was like, well, here's this example right now of this happening. And you know what? I think ACW will be just fine. And I didn't sense the world ending today because this title was vacated. But boy, did I see all the complaints and all the concern about Mercedes Moné, who had not even like vacated any of those belts.
Yeah.
That in theory, you'll get another date with her on. Anyway, that's just a side deal. And the Death Vegas Invitational, which is going to be like a Desperado produced show. So I honestly believe if this is Jun Kasai, this is going to be one of the big matches of the weekend. It will 100%. Be part of. It will be part of the Collective at the Horseshoe in Las Vegas, happening April 16th. And GCW, they're starting to roll out now the Collective shows for that weekend. So they are partnering up with GCW. And I think this is the way to go. Like, I think this is for that crowd for Mania weekend. I think this type of show is a lot better than just doing like a New Japan Strong type of show that you've been building up. And I wouldn't see them sending their entire roster over there, but doing this, I think WrestleMania weekend is about carving out a show that is unique to you and with an audience. And I think this one will be a success.
I certainly think so already. Of all the WrestleMania weekend shows, I feel like this
Way would be first row, okay, with like goggles on for the fluorescent light tubes. He'd be in his glory if he was going to this show.
Sure.
Throughout the month of January, you have the chance to lock in your subscription at the Post Wrestling Cafe for all of 2026 before the price increase takes effect February the 1st. Simply sign up before February 1st and you will lock in that price all year long. If that's not enough, this month we have the annual Best and Worst of show as we get together with the Poison Rana crew to look back at 2025. We're also doing live watch-alongs of the Royal Rumbles from 1990 and 1995 with Brandon from New Jersey, a retrospective on the Tanahashi-Okada rivalry, plus reaction to Wrestle Kingdom 20, a review of TNA's debut on AMC, and much more, including TNA Genesis, UFC 324. It's all found at postwrestlingcafe.com.